getting you past Queens Boulevard. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. City-bound side of the George, still about an hour to the upper 45 on the inbound lower level of the George. Getting you out of town, the northbound west side, even with the traffic out of the 150 is the best of it. Lincoln, it's about 10 minutes in. Outbound Lincoln, no more than a few. More than a few, though, at the outbound Holland. It's about an extra 20 to 30 minutes. Traffic is sponsored by Made in Cookware. Some of the finest dishes in restaurants around the world are made in Cookware. Not surprising, since Made in is crafted by chefs for chefs and designed for restaurants and home kitchen alike. Discover all their cookware at madeincookware.com. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
A judge has yet to decide if Diddy gets to walk out of jail today or remain down at Metro. This after a jury acquitted him of the key charges against him this morning, instead convicting him of prostitution-related charges. They've scheduled a 5 p.m. bail hearing, possibly to discuss whether he walks or not and the conditions. But after 7 weeks of testimony now, with a steady parade of celebs on the witness stand, the jury decided what Sean Diddy Combs did was not in line with the RICO Act, a racketeer-influenced corrupt organization. And today, made it known. Here's Julia Papa.
Sean Diddy Combs got down on his knees, said a prayer, and then faced his applauding family after a jury acquitted him of the most serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. But they convicted him of prostitution, and he faces up to 10 years on each count. The verdict came on the second day of deliberations after the jury initially told the judge it was deadlocked on racketeering the day before. It's not clear what changed their minds in the first hour of today's deliberations, but the decision was unanimous. Outside court, Diddy fans were jubilant. One T-shirt referencing the freak-off sex marathons that highlighted the case. The shirt saying, "Freakos aren't Ricos." Juliet Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Oh, Lord. And then we got a report out of there that somebody was spraying baby oil on folks in the crowd outside the courtroom. It's just been wild down there, we hear. Douglas Wigdor is Cassie Ventura's lawyer. He represented her in the civil case against Diddy. Today he told reporters as long as Diddy's been convicted of something, he and his client are satisfied, adding Cassie is the one who was brave enough to step out and put Diddy under a microscope.
We're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard, and we're just pleased that he still faces substantial jail time.
As Juliet mentioned, outside the courthouse, people are taking sides, with some folks believing Diddy deserved a harsher verdict on the more serious crimes, while others say he might have been a narcissist and an abusive monster, but he didn't run an enterprise.
Some were gleeful, others angry. Samantha came to the courthouse when she heard the verdict.
I feel bad for all the victims and everything. Just not fair.
There were as many content creators and live streamers as reporters outside, some here for the entire 8-week trial. Uda Ongo telling his viewers the victims could have gotten justice in the state courts.
Because he was guilty of the domestic violence and all those things. But you know what they did? They swung for the fence. And they went for RICO. So the government is who you blame.
Defense attorneys had argued the women weren't coerced, producing texts in which they expressed enthusiasm for the sexual encounters. Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at Federal Court in Lower Manhattan.
Emotions high down there. It was a circus, Juliet says. So we'll wait to see if the judge sides with Diddy's lawyers to set him free or to keep him behind bars. He's been held at Metro now since September. Again, that bail hearing happens today at 5. 1010 Wins will be there, and we will let you know. Well, we inch another day closer to the 4th of July, everybody, including the big Macy's Fireworks Spectacular. And the NYPD has already upped its game to protect us, holding a briefing today to tell reporters we're ready for any and everything, though they're not seeing anything threatening us on the surface.
The Macy's Fireworks Show is on the east side of the city this year, meaning some of the fireworks will be launched from the Brooklyn Bridge, and the FDNY also will be stationed nearby with personnel from their explosive units just in case. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says that all city agencies plan all year to be prepared for the fireworks.
But because we are operating in a heightened threat environment, you're going to see a very similar plan to what we did happened last year, but just some more street closures, more drones, more counterterrorism officers, more cops.
The NYPD says they'll have boots on the ground and drones in the sky. Mary Evelyn Buckley, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM from police headquarters.
And speaking of drones in the sky, with everybody getting ready to hit the beach this 4th of July, Governor Hochul beefing up resources on Long Island to make sure the waters are free of sharks. She's giving parks officials 6 more drones, bringing the total to 28 for South Shore beaches, including Jones Beach, where a young woman suffered a suspected shark bite last week. They've also trained 8 additional drone pilots to help with patrols. The statement, the governor says, is about strengthening our shark surveillance capabilities to help protect our cherished beaches and summertime traditions. And how about our ankles, too, Governor? Well, it was a chaotic morning at the Port Authority where a dozen people were hurt when 2 buses collided. The crash happened about 6:15 on a ramp on the 4th floor. FDNY EMS Deputy Chief Jason Sappin says one bus made contact with the rear of another, sending 12 people to the hospital.
We had 3 patients on one bus, and the remaining patients were on the other bus. They were not full. They were not full to capacity.
Yeah, all the injuries said to be non-life-threatening because of the crash still under investigation. And 2 years ago, the Roosevelt Hotel was at the center of what some call the migrant crisis here in New York, when as many as 4,000 asylum seekers arrived here every single week. Well, today, Mayor Adams says that chapter is behind us now as he marks the closure of the Roosevelt along with dozens of others.
This is ever going to be a symbol of the resiliency of this city and how you could do things in the right way.
Yeah, it says it was 2 years ago. I thought it was just a year. It seems like just yesterday. Anyway, the Roosevelt became an arrival and intake center for migrants back in May 2023. Since then, the mayor says 237,000 asylum seekers have gone through there. With that number down to about 100 arrivals a week, the city has now shuttered 63 shelters over the past year. Migrant intake will now happen at other homeless shelters. And our news will continue in just a moment.
Find what you love what you find. A total wine and more. So much waiting for. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guys in the know, and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
I should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-741-3889. 800-741-3889. 800-741-3889.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
All right. Let's see what the roads are doing now. West Houston 311 and from your Mercedes-Benz-of-Edison.com traffic center. Here's Greg Rice.
Well, the big bunch up right now is on the belt, westbound belt, just as you get out towards the area of Cross Bay Boulevard. We are dealing with an accident. You got a rollover, in fact, in all lanes subject to closure. It's why the westbound belt is at a standstill from Springfield Boulevard. Eastbound belt, a slow ride from Ocean Parkway all the way back to Cross Bay Boulevard with emergency vehicles and some rubbernecking of that westbound crash. Here is what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound George, about an extra 45 to 60 minutes on the upper, 30 to 45 on the lower. The northbound west side of the winter, getting out of town. Lincoln, no more than about 10 minutes in. Outbound side of the Lincoln Tunnel, not awful yet. Holland, we're getting there, though. 20 to 30 minutes out. Outbound covered roadway and inbound skyway a bit slow. The Newark Bay, that is where you go. Both southbound spurs of the turnpike are slow. Southbound eastern spur, that's a bit slower. And the southbound side of 287, still very messy getting you through Morristown because of an earlier investigation near exit 30. Traffic and transit every 10 minutes on the ones and breaking traffic alerts whenever they happen. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Thank you, G. And now your 1010 Wins AccuWeather 4-day forecast. This hour is sponsored by the Bronx Beat from the Bronx Economic Development Corporation. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson now with this live report.
Well, Larry, the clouds continue to move on out for the most part, seeing more sunshine basically from the city on north and west. Still a decent amount of clouds across parts of Long Island, but even there, the clouds starting to thin out a little bit here, and that'll be the trend through the rest of the afternoon. And eventually, it'll become mostly clear as we head into tonight. There will be a warm night, a low 72 in Midtown, will be in the 60s in many suburbs. Now, as we head through tomorrow, with sunshine and some clouds, it's going to be a very warm day, even a little warmer than today. The humidity will be lower. We may have a spotty afternoon or early evening thunderstorm. Any of the storms that do pop up late tomorrow could be heavy and gusty. A high up to 88 tomorrow. Then the sky clears later tomorrow night with a low of 68. And it paves the way for a fantastic day on Friday for the 4th of July. Plenty of sunshine, very low humidity for this time of year. High Friday, 84. A little warmer Saturday, but still a very nice day. The humidity is still going to be pretty low with sunshine and some clouds. High 87. Back into the upper 80s on Sunday. Maybe a touch more humidity, but still quite a bit of sunshine around. Right now we have a partly sunny sky. It is 82 degrees. In Midtown, we're going down to 72 tonight. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
The Bronx Beat.
It's National Ice Cream Month, and Delicioso Coco Helada's signature coconut sorbets are a delicious treat to beat the heat. This Bronx staple with so many iconic flavors is located at 849 St. Anne's Avenue. Try some fan favorites like cherry, tamarind, and their signature coconut any day of the week. Find them on Instagram for more information.
This is Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson for the Bronx Beat. For more information, please visit ilovethebronx.com.
Hi, this is Stu Leonard. Fire up your 4th of July grill. We have Stu's Naked Beef Patties, only $5.99. You save $2 a pound, ground fresh by our butchers. I just talked to Cindy, who's family-owned Dietz & Watson. She's given us a great deal on her natural grass-fed hot dogs at $5.99. Buy one, get one free. That's only 50 cents a dog. Stu's Naked Beef Patties at $5.99, plus free hot dogs. Add a bottle of wine and they'll cover over.
AccuWeather says clouds breaking for some sun this afternoon, rather warm and humid with a high of 84. And then tonight becoming mostly clear and warm, a low of 72 in town, 60s out in the suburbs. A little bit nicer out in the burbs. Go visit a friend out there. Right now, 76 degrees and overcast in Central Park. Well, a well-known sleep guru behind the idea of the power nap has passed away.
Like to catch a snooze in the middle of the day? You can thank James Moss for the power nap. His family says the Cornell professor who popularized the term has died at the age of 86. He packed lecture halls and sold books promoting research into the cognitive and health benefits of getting enough sleep. Moss, a social psychologist, cited the culture of muscling through as the enemy, challenging perceptions that being bleary-eyed and sleep-deprived was a mark of success. His recipe, 15 to 20 minutes of shut-eye, and you're yawning wide. Deborah Rodriguez for 1010 Wins.
Some bad news today. If you work for Microsoft, they're handing out pink slips to thousands in the second mass layoff in months there.
Layoff notices going out first thing Wednesday morning. Microsoft not saying how many people are losing their jobs, but admitting it makes up about 4% of its workforce. The cuts will affect several teams around the world, including those in sales and employees in the Xbox video game division. This is the third round of layoffs at Microsoft this year, including its biggest round of cuts, 6,000 people, that happened in May.
In the face of that big controversy at Glastonbury, rap duo Bob Vylan has been dropped from multiple upcoming music festivals. To rewind now, the music group was in the headlines all week. This after leading a chant of death to the IDF. This was during their performance at Glastonbury, referring to the Israeli military. Festival organizers and the BBC immediately condemned the statements and expressed regret for not pulling the live stream immediately. Now, the fallout is growing. Bob Vylan has now been scrapped from Manchester's Raider Festival, where they were supposed to headline, as well as the French music festival Carré West, and a Progress and separate gig in Germany, apparently. In response, Vylan took to Instagram saying they aren't calling for the death of Jews or Arabs. Rather, they are calling for, quote, the dismantling of a violent military machine. The 90s are back in a big way with the two-day festival heading to Long Island next week.
There will be tons of music from the 1990s. Organizer Grace Kelly says all ages are welcome to the Long Island Nostalgia Festival taking place in Mineola July 11th and 12th.
So we will have things for the kids like face painting and, a chance to meet characters from the 90s. Rocko's Modern Life, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And you're encouraged to dress up in a 1990s themed outfit.
So whether that be Clueless, or that grunge look.
Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM on Long Island.
Fam, you want to hear something funny? So Kyle's out in the newsroom polling the room of our producers. The average age is 12 out there. Name a 90s song. Name a 90s song. And they're looking at him like, what in the world is in hell? Kyle's only 16. Oh, the young folks in this place. But we love them. They are the hardest working folks on the planet. There you are. Send checks to Larry Mullins, every single one of you. We're back in a moment.
Have you ever wondered why there is so much cancer on Long Island? Did you know that the DuPont Chemical Corporation and 3M recently agreed to a $13.5 billion settlement for contaminating public drinking water with cancer-causing forever chemicals? Long Island's drinking water has some of the highest concentrations of these cancer-causing forever chemicals. If you live on Long Island and have been diagnosed with kidney cancer, testicular cancer, liver cancer, thyroid cancer, or ulcerative colitis, you may have a claim. Call the lawyers at Krenzel, Guzman, Herbert. The KG Law Team is on your side. You can trust KG Law Team to diligently work toward restoring you and your family's well-being. There are serious time constraints, so call the KG Law Team for a free consultation at 212-227-2900. That's 212-227-2900. Or visit their website at kglawteam.com. That's kglawteam.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get leaf filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
1010 Wins at 92.3. We are moving at the speed of New York.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
79 degrees and overcast skies at 3:20. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening. He went from worrying about spending the rest of his life in prison to wondering if he'll make it home in time for the 4th of July. Sean Diddy Combs dodging a bullet this morning, acquitted of the most weighted charges against him, headed for a bail hearing this afternoon. We'll also have more on the two men arrested and charged with allegedly ripping off ATMs. Police say they hit at least a dozen spots on Long Island. Somebody's got some serious cash stuffed under the mattress. The real estate giants in this town say more and more people are showing up buying homes with cash, no mortgages. And in fact, it's the highest cash-only period we've seen in years. Zoran Mamdani, with an acceptance speech of sorts today, officially declaring himself the winner of the Democratic primary for mayor. Took a minute to give Mayor Eric Adams and President Trump a piece of his mind, though. We'll tell you why. Kate Blanchett getting the Freedom of the City of London honor, an ancient tradition used to honor an individual's contribution to the community. It's a pretty big deal, we'll tell you about. A mixed day on Wall Street with all the indexes showing only small gains and small losses. Nothing too wild to speak of. That would impact your 401k. We'll have details on Money Watch. And AccuWeather says tonight becoming mostly clear and warm with a low of 72. When's news time? 3:21. And from your Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com traffic center now is Greg Rice.
Now, we are still looking at trouble in Brooklyn, the westbound side of the Belt Parkway right now. We have a crash, in fact, a rollover, and all lanes still subject to closure as the westbound belt stands still from Sunrise Highway. Eastbound belt between rubbernecking, emergency vehicles, and everybody's just starting to head out. The eastbound belt slows from Ocean Parkway all the way on out towards Cross Bay Boulevard. The eastbound BQE, the inbound Gowanus, all of it slows through 7th Avenue with some trouble again from Hamilton Avenue up towards Tillery Street, and then more eastbound company from Flushing Avenue up to Queens Boulevard. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound George, 45 on the upper, 20 to 30 minutes on the inbound lower, northbound west side, the best of it out. Lincoln, it's about 10 minutes in. Outbound Lincoln, an extra 15 to 20 from 11th. You want 9th. Everything is at least a half hour home at the Holland. Outbound covered roadway and inbound Skyway starting to slow. Newark Bay is better. And in Queens, eastbound Grand Central, right near Queens Boulevard, you got a breakdown in the middle lane, and that's why you're jammed up from the Long Island Expressway. Traffic is sponsored by Flushing Bank. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Life's rewarding, especially with Flushing Bank's Complete Cash Rewards program. Just open a personal or business complete checking account to get started. With 29 New York Metro locations, there's nothing easier or more rewarding. Visit flushingbank.com today. Member FDIC.
Will he walk or will he sit? That's the question this afternoon as Sean Diddy Combs settles into the conviction he got this morning. The jurors decided he dealt in prostitution, but he did not do so to the level of a racketeering operation. So now the judge has to decide if he can get out soon, defense lawyers say, considering prostitution charges don't typically hold people in jail for 10 months, they say. Here's Juliet Papa.
Well, Sean Diddy Combs walked out the courthouse door today. It's what his lawyers are asking for after the jury acquitted him of the most serious charges, but convicted on prostitution. His lawyers argued that if Combs had been arrested only on that, he would not have been cooling his heels in his prison cell since September when he was arrested in Midtown Manhattan. Prosecutors want him to remain incarcerated. The U.S. attorney issuing a statement saying sex crimes are serious and they will continue to prosecute them. Diddy's family left the courtroom jubilant, smiling, his mother waving to the crowd outside. Diddy faces up to 10 years behind bars on each count. Julia Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
And again, we will be attending that hearing, or at least standing outside, waiting on the outcome of that hearing, and we will let you know the minute that they come up with a decision, the judge in that case. Well, so far, 2025 shaping up to be an historic year when it comes to traffic safety. City transportation officials have announced that in the first half of the year, there were 87 traffic deaths in the 5 boroughs, matching the numbers from 2018, which would go on to become the safest year on the streets since the city started recording these traffic deaths 115 years ago. DOT head Yananis Rodriguez says it's thanks in no small part to the laws we've been putting on the books.
We have made enormous progress because we have made powerful choices to design our street for safety, to hold people accountable when they break traffic laws.
Now, we can't go celebrating just yet because traffic deaths tend to rise in the summer, so the second half of the year usually outpaces the first. Well, as they say, money talks, and it would appear folks in New York are letting their money do the talking when it comes to buying a house. Douglas Elliman says Manhattan home sales surged by 17%, with most of the home buyers showing up with a suitcase satchel full of cash. The realty giant says the second quarter was stronger than any they've seen in almost 2 years. A little more than 3,000 co-op and condo purchases were closed, and those houses were not cheap, folks. We're talking median prices about $1.2 million. Oh, yeah. They're saying the quarter might have been even better had it not been for President Trump's tariffs, which they say threw a wet blanket on the springtime deal bonanza many in the industry were banking on. Jonathan Miller with Miller Samuel says, yeah, it's a pretty good quarter, but no, it wasn't quite the boom we were expecting before factoring in the trade wars. He says Trump's tariffs gave people who were depending on finances the heebie-jeebies. They backed off. They were afraid. Still, purchases made with mortgages rose 5.7%. But in comparison, folks walking in with cash in their hands rose 23%. And now Bloomberg Money Watch. So here is Andrew Ote.
Chuck E. Cheese, not just for kids anymore. The chain is opening up arcades for adults. The same adults who enjoyed those weekend birthday parties as kids. The new arcades called Chuck's Arcade will feature a mix of nostalgic games such as Donkey Kong and Mortal Kombat mixed with new games like Halo. Expansion comes just 5 years after the company filed for bankruptcy during the height of the COVID pandemic. Meta's version of X, called Threads, is rolling out direct messaging. The text-based social media platform is also adding what it calls Highlighter to the app. Highlighter emphasizes interesting perspectives and conversations, starting with trending topics. The ability to DM on Threads has been the most requested operation among its users. Wall Street's indexes continuing to split it here in the final trading hour. Dow losing 29. NASDAQ, though, in record territory, up 171. S&P up 23. The support is sponsored by Total Wine & More. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 50 cents past every hour. I'm Andrew O'Day for 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-9701. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Looking for something fun to do this weekend? Experience world-class gaming at Resorts World Casinos in New York City, Catskills, and the Hudson Valley. For info, go to visitrw.com.
Clouds will break for some sun this afternoon. Rather warm and humid, though, with a high of 84 degrees. And then tonight, becoming mostly clear and warm. We'll get to a low of 72 in Midtown, but 60s in many of the suburbs. Tomorrow, sun and some clouds, very warm, less humid, with a spotty afternoon or early evening thunderstorm around, perhaps a gusty wind, with a high of 88 on 4th of July Eve. And then Friday, Independence Day, plenty of sunshine, comfortably low humidity, too, with a high of 84 degrees. Saturday, a bit warmer with sunshine and some clouds, still rather low humidity, though, with a high of 87. We're at 79 degrees and overcast right now in Central Park. Good afternoon, I'm Larry Mullins. When's news time at The Tone, 3:30.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Netton. A day after Zoran Mondani clinched the Democratic candidate title for mayor of New York City, he hit the stump, and the incumbent is responding.
Zoran Mondani says his Democratic primary win is a mandate to make the city more affordable for the working class.
Finally bringing an end to the chapter in our city, led by our current mayor, to raise rents on those same New Yorkers, to price those same New Yorkers out of this city.
And here's why Mondani is concerned about President Trump saying he would be arrested if he stood up to ICE.
Imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
He notes that both he and Trump focused on affordability in their campaigns, but says Trump betrayed the working class. Would he urge Andrew Cuomo to drop out?
I'm looking to unite this city, to unite this party, to look forward. I leave the decisions of who will or will not run up to them.
Mac Rosenberg's 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
A spokesman for Mayor Adams said, in part, the mayor has abolished the city income tax for hundreds of thousands of working-class New Yorkers through Axe the Tax, wiped out $2 billion in medical debt, and created record levels of affordable housing year after year.
Winds News Time, 3:31. Time now for traffic and transit. Here's Greg Rice.
Well, here is what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. It's better, but I didn't say good. At the inbound side of the George Washington Bridge, we're still looking at least a 30 to 40 minute ride on the upper, 20 to 30 minutes on the inbound lower. Not the hour it was earlier, but still not good. Northbound west side, the best of it out Lincoln. We're looking at about 10 minutes in. Outbound side of the Lincoln, an extra 20 minutes or so from 11th Avenue. 9th is better. The outbound Holland Tunnel, that's up to about 45 minutes. The outbound covered roadway and inbound Skyway are slow. Newark Bay is better. Brooklyn down Brooklyn Bridge, either way in the RFK, the Queens down Whitestone, all bunched up and then deal with the belt. Westbound side of the Belt Parkway, just past Cross Bay Boulevard, you got that rollover. You got all lanes still subject to closure in the mess. Back to Springfield Boulevard, eastbound belt slow ride as well from right around Shell Road now. All the way back to Cross Bay Boulevard, rubbernecking emergency vehicles. It's all made the eastbound ride so slow as well. Traffic is sponsored by Morgan and Morgan. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game, stronger than ever. At Morgan and Morgan, you're the home run hitters you need. Morgan and Morgan, proud sponsor of the New York Yankees.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Now the AccuWeather 4-day forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Lori, after what's been a pretty, was a pretty cloudy start this morning, we've been seeing increasing amounts of sunshine throughout the afternoon. And the sky is eventually going to become mostly everywhere as we head into tonight. It'll be rather warm, low 72 in the city. It'll be in the 60s in many suburbs. And then tomorrow, even a little warmer than today. But the humidity is going to be lower. We'll have sunshine and some clouds, maybe a spotty afternoon or early evening thunderstorm. High tomorrow around 88. Then after those storms move through, the sky will clear later tomorrow night, low 68. And a beautiful 4th of July on Friday. Lots of sunshine, very low humidity for early July, a high of 84. And Saturday looks very similar. Well, sunshine and some clouds, might be a touch warmer than Friday. Still not that humid, though, a high of 87 and up to 89 on Sunday. Still looks mainly dry with a fair amount of sunshine. Right now it's 82 degrees. We have a partly sunny sky in Midtown. We're going down to 72 tonight. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Ye, the rapper formerly known as Kanye West, can forget about visiting Australia. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke says Ye has been stripped of his visa after the release of his single, Heil Hitler.
He's got family here, and he's made a lot of offensive comments.